Hello and welcome to Lucky Sweetheart Vintage, the place where kitsch comes to play and fabulous finds are around every corner. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Nemadji Pottery. We're going to do a little bit of a Nemadji Pottery 101 where we talk about the history of this company and talk a little bit about how much this stuff is worth now. And we'll also get into how to identify it. And believe me, identifying Nemadji Pottery is one of the easiest things to do, so we'll get into that as well. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So Nemadji Pottery is made by the Nemadji Tile and Pottery Company and only by them. It's not a genre of pottery, it's just made by this one company. And they originally started out as a tile company, but then one of their employees supposedly suggested the idea of making these clay pottery vases and selling them to some of the tourists in the different areas out west. And so that's how Nemadji Pottery came about. And they made it look like it was Indian artifacts, like Native American artifacts, when in fact it is not made of that at all. These are just beautiful colors that are put into the clay. And yeah, it's really cool. I absolutely love their color patterns. So I think the point that we should get into next is just how to identify Nemadji pottery, which I said before is one of the easiest things in the world to identify. There's a couple different ways, a couple different marks of identification. The first is they usually have this stamp on the bottom. That's what it looks like. It says Nemadji Pottery. The second thing is usually if you're buying it off of online, usually they'll have this, depends on how good of care the last person who owned it took care of it, but usually it'll come with something like this. It's a little story about the company and the river that the clay comes from. And then the best way, I think, to identify it is just by looking at the beautiful colors. It's unmistakable. Nothing that's out there really looks like this. And I'll show you some other examples here of the pottery and just how beautiful and rich the color is and how unique it is. This is not something that you're gonna see in others. And like I said, I don't really know of any repros or anything that exists that's made to look like this, but it's just beautiful. Last but not least, let's get into the value of Nemadji pottery, how much this stuff is actually worth. So the truth is the value of this stuff pretty much runs the gamut. As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so is the value of things like Nemadji pottery. So the truth is, like I just saw on Mercari, there was a little bit bigger than a bud vase on sale for $13. But some of the bigger stuff is commanding into the hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. So it really just depends on who's selling it and whether or not they know what they have is special. If they know that it's special and they know that this stuff is no longer made, they're of course gonna amp up the price. And if they just want to get rid of it because they don't care about it, they don't like it anymore, they're gonna sell for low. So that's the thing with everything. And Nemadji is really not a name that's kind of like out there that people are recognizing yet. I think that it's going to be. I have like this big trend idea about Nemadji pottery. I think it's going to be huge, but it isn't right now. So that's just what's going on with it. I think it's going to be huge, and I think that it's something that's going to command a lot of value in the future because of the fact that it is no longer made. You cannot buy new Nemadji pottery, and so because of that, I think that it's going to hold on to its value and it's going to become more valuable. So that is everything that I have for you about that. I was wondering if you are a Nemadji collector, if you have any pieces, which ones you have, and if you think that Nemadji is going to go up in value once it becomes more recognizable, once people recognize what it is that they have is special. So let me know in the comments, and that's all that I have for you. I'll see you in the next video.